Good afternoon, everybody. It is 4:07 on Wednesday, November 19th. We've just concluded another school day. We have 2 more full days prior to the Thanksgiving break, 1 half day on Monday. But I'm excited to be here talking with you about a new special that is being piloted in 5 of our 13 elementary schools. But I brought some special guests today. Mr. Gilmer, why don't you come in first? Let's bring you in just because you're a familiar face and you and I.
Special guest.
Look at that. Look at this guy. He's not so, he is very special, but he's not a guest.
How you doing?
Okay. Bob is a regular on these platforms and often facilitates and helps carry the conversation here. So, Bob, join in whenever you'd like. Ask questions. I know you like to geek out on some of this stuff.
So we had a little teaser of this today for American Education Week. We actually visited one of our guests today in the classroom. Dr. Waters was there to talk to some students and Mr. Fickert. It was awesome. So I think everybody's really hyped to hear more about this today.
Awesome. Well, let's bring Mr. Fickert in first. We'll bring him up on the screen. He's the first of many guests here. Good afternoon, Mr. Fickert. How are we doing?
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me on. Fantastic. Awesome. We just got done a code.org training that I'm sure we'll get into and talk about very shortly as well.
Awesome. So if you needed something uplifting in this afternoon, we already got a comment from the chat there. Chabuka says, greetings, handsome teachers. He's clearly not talking about me, so he's talking about you, Mr. Fickert. Great job. Congratulations. All right, Bob, bring them all in. Let's bring the whole party together at this point. Here they come. And there's the guest of honor. All right, so we have Mrs. Fisher, the Shield teacher from Gwynnor Elementary School. We got Dr. Arnie. He is a curriculum supervisor for the STEM content areas at the elementary level. And Ms. Rebecca Rousseau, Shield teacher extraordinaire, kind of the department chair of our Shield program. And then our special guest. You're all very special. But the main event here is Bennett. Bennett is a 5th grade student, right? 5th grade, Bennett? Yep. 5th grade student at Gwynnor Elementary. He was a part of one of the student groups that I had the privilege of speaking with, and he said such great things about Shield. We invited him to the conversation. So good afternoon, everybody. We did hear from Mr. Fickert. Let's just get a brief introduction from the others. Just tell us, why don't you give us your quick biography here in North Penn? Like what else you taught, what other buildings you've been in. So why don't we start with Mrs. Fisher? Take it away, Mrs. Fisher.
Hi, I've only been at Gwynnor since I've been working at North Penn. I started in 5th grade and then I taught 4th grade for a few years. And now I have the privilege of being a Shield teacher, which has been really amazing to start with this year.
Awesome. Thank you. Dr. Arnie. Dr. Arnie's got a really fun bio. Go ahead, Dr. Arnie.
Good afternoon, everyone. Finishing my 32nd year in public education. And in North Penn, I was a proud principal of the Montgomery Mountain Lions. And right now I supervise elementary STEM.
Awesome. And jumping over to Ms. Rousseau. Rebecca, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, good afternoon. This is my 11th year at North Penn. I have been a middle school math teacher, a secondary math learning coach, a special areas coordinator, and this year working as the department chair with all the other great STEM Shield teachers.
So she has a very empty room behind her, Bob, to wear all those hats. Where does she keep those hats? There's got to be a rack behind the camera or something.
I think it's a big suitcase with wheels rolling around.
That's what
everywhere.
It is. Yep. Yeah, she pulls the suitcase. All right. And lastly, Mr. Fickert, let's pause with you as well. I know you spoke, but just tell us a little bit about your experience there at Gwinnett Square.
Sure. This is my 20th year at North Penn.
Wow.
I started 11 years at North Wales, teaching both 6th grade and 1st grade for 3 years, and then moved over to Gwinnett Square. And this is my 9th year there, my first year with our Shield program, and excited about it.
All right. Thank you. And finally, Bennett, we're going to come to you. So get that microphone ready. Bennett, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Have you been at Gwynnor your entire academic career? And if so, what are some things you're interested in?
I'm Bennett, and I've been at Gwynnor for my school stuff, and I don't know what else to say.
All right, are you in any clubs, any activities, play any sports outside of school?
No.
No? Would you love to read?
I'm trying to learn piano, though.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that can be related, too. So I'm sure we could get some music lessons into Shield, too. All the digital music tools and skills. That's very cool. All right. So with that, we're going to start with Dr. Arnie. because Dr. Arnie is the curriculum supervisor in these content areas. Can you tell us a little bit about the origin of SHIELD? First of all, what's SHIELD stand for? I know it's solving hypotheses. No, I won't ruin it. Go ahead. You take it away.
Well, I'm going to say, so I'll throw that out to Bennett to see if Bennett knows what SHIELD stands for, or I'll defer to my teachers for that. The name is interesting in itself, because that is where ChatGPT and AI can help you solve problems and be a thought partner, because Ms. Russo is the one who originated that name using AI. But where did SHIELD, our fifth special, start? Well, we just finished working for the past 3 years, updating our science curriculum. Updating the science to align with the Pennsylvania new steel standards. And what we noticed was a heavy emphasis on science and engineering practices. And we didn't have a lot of that embedded into our day-to-day science curriculum. So we thought, okay, well, how can we, bring something to North Penn that kind of gets the kids engaged into some hands-on, minds-on problem solving. And looking at what we do at our middle and high school, we have wonderful programs and wonderful opportunities. So Ms. Russo and I started the journey last spring, and brought in Project Lead the Way, Code.org, and Legos as just different opportunities for our kids to explore. And those resources marry great with our new steel standards. So it's a complement. It supplements our science instruction for our teachers. And really, I think Bennett will probably speak best to it. The kids love coming to play. They play, they discover. And I think most of all, it helps with the soft skills that we really want our kids to learn: problem solving, perseverance, collaboration, and teamwork.
Love it. All right. Thank you for that background. So Bennett, give me a sign. Raise your hand if you know the acronym SHIELD and what it stands for. Okay. All right. So, but you know who does? We'll phone a friend here. There it is, Bob. Good producing there. You were right with me. All right, Ms. Rousseau, take it away. What does SHIELD
All right. SHIELD stands for Solving Hypotheses Through Innovation, Environmental Literacy, and Design. And of course, we are the North Penn Knights, so we have the SHIELD to go along with all of our other mascots.
I love it. And did everybody know that the mascots for the 3 middle schools kind of work together to make a knight? Because we have the horse, we have the sword, the Excalibur. What's the other one? Is it the actual shield? So,
well, it's changed a little bit. So it's the Charger, the Lancer.
Yeah.
But Penndale a bunch of years ago changed to the Spartans.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like a knight.
They used to be squires.
Okay. All right.
But anyway.
But now we have the actual shield at the elementary school too for our Spartan. So it all works perfectly. All right. So Ms. Rousseau, let's talk about, Dr. Arnie said, look, the state changed our requirements, right? The standards and what needs to be taught. Many of the components I'm sure we already taught in science and math and in our curricula to begin with. But when we decided at a very late hour to move in a direction to have a 5th special in some of our elementaries, not all, give like a 30 seconds or less overview of like what all goes into that in those 3 short months that we had to get this ready.
I will say Dr. Arnie and I spent a good amount of time together. We are great thought partners, which I'm very grateful for. We broke down and looked at all of the science standards. We broke down what was being covered in science classes, what was being added in the technology and engineering standards. That is a different bucket in those 5th grade PSSAs. And then we looked at what resources were being done around us. We actually took a visit to a neighboring district and saw what they did. And then we had a big map and we looked at what the standards were, what the resources were, how things collaborated together, and how we could build a cohesive program that was matching with what they were learning in science, what was building to what they were doing at their secondary level, and what would give students a really robust all-around experience through an entire year of a special.
Wow, what a heavy lift. We couldn't have had two better people getting us ready for this, and I'm sure scaling it for next year. Although we'll share some news at the end that Dr. Arnie may not be here next year, but your ability to get us ready and make this a success. But then we had to find the teachers. We had to find the people who were interested in working in this brand new special, helping us to create a curriculum and kind of be guinea pigs, if you will, to prepare us to scale it to 13 elementary. So let's go to Mrs. Fisher. Oh, Bob, you are on point today. Look at that. Well, we are locked in. All right. So Whitney, tell us a little bit about what in the SHIELD program, why were you interested? What caused you to apply and to pursue being one of these new, I use the term guinea pig. Go ahead.
Sure. I have my master's degree in elementary technology. So it has always been something that I've been really interested in. Prior to teaching in North Penn, I was in Central Bucks, and I resigned to take care of my 3 kids. And when I was resigning, this was something they were starting there. So once I heard it was coming to North Penn, I was so excited. I talked to my principal and just found out more information about it. Once I heard it was going to be a pilot at Gwen Nor, I knew it was something I wanted to interview for. And it's been a great experience.
What do they call it in Central Bucks?
Quest.
Quest, that's right. Yeah, I was working there and I left, I think, the year it started. So you and I might have left right around the same time.
I think we might have.
Yeah, it was right around the same. Interesting. Okay, so you had a background, you have your master's degree, you applied, even though you really didn't know what it was all going to be about. How's it been going so far?
It's been amazing. The 5 of us with Rebecca and Sean just work really well together. We had a lot of training over the summer, which I think was helpful. And then we are continuing to have training when things come about. So code.org is something we are starting with 5th and 6th grade. And when we started using it, there were some things we weren't sure about. So Rebecca and Sean had someone from the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit come in today just to teach us more about it so that we are able to teach our students. So it's been a really great learning curve. I've really enjoyed it.
I love it. All right. So before we go to Bennett to get the student perspective on things, we're going to jump over to, there you go, Bob. Good job. Gwinnett Square, Mr. Fickert. So Derek, talk to me about some of the challenges. What has been most difficult going from a regular classroom teacher to a specials teacher, aside from you just have a lot more kids right now? What has been the biggest challenge for you?
And I think that's it. I think that's the biggest challenge is when you're teaching 1 grade, 6th grade, you really get to know those kids. You get to know everything about those kids. Being on a cart for 45 minutes from one classroom to the next, that's been the biggest challenges. I love building those relationships. In the first 2 weeks, we did have the opportunity to really try to get to know our students. We're in and out. We're upstairs. We're downstairs. So, that constant moving, a lot of planning, which is great. And that's Rebecca and Sean are doing a great job of laying the framework for us and working with us. Every week we meet to discuss what's working, what's not working, where are we at. So, it's a flowing document right now. And I think that's the part that I really enjoy too, is we're kind of laying the framework for the other 8 schools to join on board next year. But really getting to know those kids and spending more time is something that I do miss not being in the classroom. But it's going to be great because I'm going to know those first graders for the next 5 years and beyond, and I'm going to really get to know them well.
Yeah, I've never really thought of that perspective. Whereas if let's say you're teaching first grade and let's say you have 24, 25 kids in your class, you really get to know them that year, but then they move on and you still see them, but you're not engaging them in the same way. This is like you're running the marathon. As a special, you're going to have them every year for 7 years, like it or not. So I wonder what that relationship eventually evolves to. Awesome. Okay, Bennett, it's now your turn. And as I said at the top of the hour, the reason we asked you to join us, and we're so grateful that you did, is because when I was over at Gwen Nor meeting with a group of students, when I went around the table, what's something that's going really well here? What's something you love about? And you mentioned, I love the new special, SHIELD. So tell me a little bit about why you love it.
Because I like doing arts and crafts at home, and it's like building stuff. I like coding too.
Okay, so with building and coding things, do you have a favorite lesson or project that you've done so far? And then we'll jump to Mrs. Fisher and hear a little bit more about it. So just tell us, what was your favorite and why?
The the Legos, because I have a bunch of them at home and they're fun.
I love it. Awesome. All right, Ms. Fisher. So tell us a little bit about what the Lego assignments or projects have been. Are they kits? Is it prescribed? Is there creativity involved? How's that work?
Sure, sure. So grades 3rd through 6th have been working through Lego Spike Kits. They each have a different unit. Bennett in 5th grade was working with carnival games. So they got to go through 3 different builds with the Lego Spike Kits. For each build, they followed online on their computer. They went through the step-by-step directions that set up the story in the beginning using the minifigs and the problem that they had to solve. They built their Spike Kit build, and then once it was built, they coded it. So they the Spike app showed them how to code it to begin with, and then once they got to that point, there were 2 other challenges that they had to try to figure out that gave them a little bit more creativity if they got to that step. So in the beginning, just getting them used to building and coding took a little bit longer, but as they got used to where the Legos were and working with their partner, they started getting through the build and the code together in one class period.
Awesome. And did anybody notice in the chat there on Facebook that we're not only is this Bob award winning, the Superintendent Live and Community Conversations, they are, so is the podcast, award winning. We're global now. Global. We have Singh Juma joining us from Kenya. How about that? All right. So we heard a little bit about the Legos projects. Let's talk about Mr. Fickert. We're going to kind of make our way back here. What has been your favorite experience, aside from what you love about SHIELD in general? What's your favorite lesson to teach? Or when you bring it to the classroom, what are you pretty jazzed up about?
Well, and I used to run a tech club over at Gwinnett Square, so the coding is kind of right up my alley. We did some robotics and did coding. The North Penn Education Foundation, shout out to them, helped us purchase robots. So I have a little more experience with code.org, which we're jumping into right now. I can tell you too, I'm really enjoying the project Lead the Way. We started that this week, and it's more of a science unit with, at the end, there's some engineering that's going to take place. So seeing our different grade levels do different things within Project Lead the Way. We have designs inspired by nature. We have grids and games, which is sort of like a coding on paper. And then our energy explorations, which is up my alley too. I taught science and social studies for many years. And in 6th grade, we had the gravity and kinetic energy unit. So I'm excited to get started with that this week as well.
All right. I need to request that I get some invites to come see some of these lessons. That's excited. Whitney and Derek, do you ever feel like you're like grandparents? Like you bring in this exciting stuff, you get the kids all jazzed up, and then you get to leave? Like, does it ever feel like the kids just get so excited and you're like, all right, good luck learning social studies now?
There are times where the lesson ends and it's all right. We need to get the kids back together here and pass them along. But yeah, that's a big change too, is you're walking out the door. You do a lesson and you're walking out the door. It's not you're there for the rest of the day.
But they're also really excited to see us as we go through the hallway.
Okay.
A lot of the kids are waving as we walk through. I almost feel like I'm famous as I'm going around because they're really enjoying SHIELD and what we're doing.
That's terrific. Yeah, I will say that every school I've been to this year, when I sit down with a group of kids and ask what's going on and what's working well, every single school, the kids have mentioned SHIELD. So, of course, the schools that have it. So glad to see we have Nicole here joining in. Thanks. Great to hear from you, Nicole. We're also hearing from Annie. Thanks for your comments there. If anybody has a question in the chat for any of our guests here, please feel free to ask the questions and we can bring them up, have conversations about your thoughts on SHIELD. All right, so we're making our way back down the list here. Ms. Russo, we're going to have to scale this, right? I mean, we say pilot. I said last year when this was kind of posed or pitched to me, I was like, it's not a pilot. It's a phasing plan, right? Because once you bring something so fun and awesome, you're not taking it away. So it's really about phasing and transitioning this to all 13. So now what? It's going well. We're only in November, towards the end of November. But now what? What's going to happen the rest of the year with the planning and preparation for next year?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going great, and we're so, happy with how things have rolled out. And like our Shield teachers had said, we are always in communication and refining what we are putting together. And so that's part of the rollout plan. We want to make sure when it goes to all the buildings, we have a solid plan in place. So next year, when it's in all of our elementary schools, we will be planning for the materials, we'll be planning for the teachers, and we'll also be looking at the training. I think all of those are big parts of what we need to keep this program as strong as it is. And so there will be times over the summer where we will be looking at professional development, we'll be looking at materials coming in and sorting and planning, and making sure that all of these lessons the teachers have learned this year as they've gone through it, we're adding into our framework so that the teachers next year have a good know where to start.
So one of the things and the question there, which you answered, Rebecca, from Annie was, is this going to go district wide? Yeah, that is the plan. Bob, you are on point today. So good. I need to stop drawing attention to it. It's just been so flawless. But yes, the plan is to have this in all 13 elementary schools. Things can change, of course, but that is the plan. Got to work through the budget. We just last week got an approved budget in Pennsylvania, where it feels like we're a quarter of the way through the school year, and we finally have one from the state. So we have to figure all these things out, but that is the plan, to transition us to having it in all 13 elementary schools. One of the things that I don't think the average person would think of is when you go from having 4 specials to 5, there's an impact on those 4 other specials as well, right? You have facility space. That's why Mr. Fickert was talking about his cart, right? Like a lot of our schools, they don't have an extra classroom just to have a Shield classroom. So now we're on a cart. And if let's say I was a PE teacher, I saw my students 180 divided by 4 times. And now next year, I'm going to see them 180 divided by 5 times. So I will see those students fewer times in a given year. So how do I meet those same standards and expectations and curriculum with fewer visits to my space or my gym, if you will, just as an example? So Dr. Arnie, I did do a little foreshadowing that things might look a little different next year in your department. You mentioned 32 years here, and you also served your country bravely and valiantly. So we have an appreciation for that for you. But you are retiring this spring, which is super exciting for you and your family, and we're so happy for you. But what do you hope the legacy of Shield is, and what do you hope it becomes over the years?
Well, that's a great question. I will say that Ms. Rousseau and I are already planning for next year with the hopes and the expectations that Shield will be in every building, and every student, kindergarten through 6th grade, will have a wonderful experience. I think what I would hope is that, everyday technology changes, with the evolution of ChatGPT, AI, coding. I just want to make sure that it's not only about the technology engineering, it's really about helping kids work collaboratively to show perseverance and grit, to solve a problem and work together. Because I think that's what employers want. They want somebody that is open, excited, and coachable. Yeah. So I think that's really what I would like to see.
Yeah, in summary, and I'm not going to say it as eloquently as you, but in summary, it's a mindset, right, of innovation, of problem solving, of collaboration. And I appreciated the way that Bennett started off with, like, he really likes art. He really likes to create things. So Bennett, here's your chance. You got all the decision makers in the same room. What is something you would love to do in Shield? Something you'd love to learn about, something you'd love to create? I'm putting you on the spot here, but what's something that if you had the opportunity to tell Mrs. Fisher, can we please do this? What would it be?
Like build something and then add something to it that you could code and make move.
Awesome. So start by maybe design phase, drawing, sketching, coming up with plans, then build it, and then take it to the next level and make it move and solve another problem. I love it. Great feedback. All right, what do we got here? My MPSD fourth grader raves about her Shield experience every week. So I got to know, Megan, if you're still listening, what school? It has to be Gwinnett Square or Gwen-Nor, right? I mean, obviously, Mr. Fickert or Mrs. Fisher. We're going to give Megan 3, 2.
While we're waiting, Dr. Bauer, just for people to say it again, I just love quizzing people.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's throw it back to like Derek here.
Oh,
What's SHIELD stand for again?
Oh, you're going to put me on the spot.
That's what we're doing.
And I shared this earlier today, too. If you haven't seen the Facebook video this morning, it's solving hypotheses through innovation, environmental literacy, and design. I always say to parents, it's STEM.
Kudos.
I always get the L wrong. I always think solving hypotheses through innovation, environmental learning, design. I don't know why I always use learning, but anyway.
Environmental literacy. I'm sorry, Dr. Bauer. EL, environmental literacy, is really one of the new infused standards.
Gotcha. Okay, got it. All right. So we're going to close this out. We're at 26 minutes. We try to keep it 20 to 30 minutes because, one, your time's valuable. Bennett probably has homework. You all have things to do, and you got to get home to your family and loved ones. Does anybody have any parting words about like what they're excited for, what they're hoping to see next year? Anything additional? Oh, I see Bob. Change the camera. Oh, somebody's bossing you around.
It was just a little delayed. I got it.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any closing arguments here on SHIELD and what they're hoping for? Mr. Fickert, thank you. He bailed me out there. Go ahead, Derek.
Sure. And I joked in the beginning of the year, but it turns out it's not really a joke. I always said for my school, I want the SHIELD program to be one of the favorites for the kids, and I think for the majority, we have great music program, great art program. It was always gym class. It was always phys ed. I think SHIELD is starting to take that over. I think the kids are very excited about it. We're excited that the kids are excited about it. It gives them some creativity, with their building, their engineering, their problem solving. Also seeing the kids collaborate every day is so rewarding. So I think this SHIELD program has been excellent for our kids here at North Penn, and I think it's quickly becoming a favorite.
All right, so he just put the PE department on notice. Okay, I hope Jason Theodore over there at Montgomery Elementary and the PE department realize what Mr. Fickert just did. That's a challenge.
And Todd, I saw Fred with his French toast sticks the other day. I hope he's listening. And my buddy Scott over there at North Wales. So, yep, it's out there. It's a challenge.
Bob and I were talking in a podcast episode, I think, and it's like if you're the PE teacher in elementary school and you're not the most popular teacher in the building, you're doing something wrong, right? Because PE is fun. It's exciting when you're in elementary. Once you get to middle school and high school, the kids, they have to get changed. Sometimes you mess up your hair, all that stuff. Elementary kids just want to play. So the SHIELD teachers are coming for you, and I love it. So Fred Irvin, Scott Crater, Jason Theodore, Jess Muller, Von Muller. There's all our PE teachers out there. Jen over at Nash, they're coming. All right. So anybody else have parting words? Otherwise, we'll wrap this up here and wish everybody a great holiday break. Rebecca, you did get some questions in there. I happen to have Nicole's email address. So Nicole, I'll shoot an email to you and Rebecca, and you guys can cut me out and chat all you want. But Nicole's a great supporter, and she's very engaged in a lot of the stuff we do. So.
Yeah, the only last thing I wanted to say is really how impactful and intentional we've been about the collaboration. Derek had talked about that, and so did Sean, that all of our lessons, whether it's through the Lego kits or Project Lead the Way or code.org, are all built so that students are working together. And, this program, when we started it, I think there were some questions on if it was, technology and more computer science. And yes, but it's that along with students working together. It's how students are building their, the rest of their life skills where they're able to use technology, they're able to use collaboration, and then, design and adjust.
I love it. Well, what a great way to close this out. Thank you to all of you for joining us. Sean and Rebecca, thank you for your thoughtful planning and design and leadership here. Whitney and Derek, thanks for making this a success. And Bennett, thanks for being the real MVP here. Thanks for joining us, sharing your thoughts, and giving Shield the recognition it deserves. So with that, Mr. Gilmer, we're going to close this out. It is 30 minutes right on the nose here. Thanks, everybody, for engaging. Continue with your questions, and we hope to see Shield across all 13 next year. Have a great evening, everyone. Thanks so much.